Hey, good morning, everybody. Obviously, just waiting a quick moment here for everybody to get in and taking attendance at the same time. Um, Happy that all of you showed up here, taking your learning seriously. That's a great thing. Um, Gonna go ahead and just to kind of get started here, put the warm up question on the screen for you. There's two questions. Um, I would like you, of the two questions, I would like you to answer one of the two in the chat function. Okay. One of the two questions. So I'll go ahead and put them on the screen here. And here's what we're looking at. First question. We kind of talked about this yesterday. Why the European Renaissance happened in Italy? Why not in Britain or France or Belgium or Greece, Spain or Portugal or Switzerland, Poland, etc.? Okay, why agree? Why Italy? Two, how could one argue the Renaissance directly affects our lives to this day? So, answer one of those two questions. Hopefully, we'll have a quick little discussion here, and then we will get moving forward from there. Okay, I'm gonna be taking attendance here. Again, for those of you just logging on here, if you could, I want you to answer one of the two questions on the screen that we're sharing. One of them is a review question. One of them is kind of an open-ended, what do you think type of question. Got quite a few people joining here late, so I'm trying to get accurate attendance. Don't want to not count someone present who's here or forget someone. All right. Let's see what people think here. Rebirth of Greek and Roman thinking. Reason why it was in Italy was wealth, power, and the church. Good. If something wasn't invented then, it might be harder to do something now. Correct. Trade and wealth. Good. Renaissance indirectly caused technology that we use. Good. Italy was wealthy. Money. Good. Good. The Renaissance affected our lives by creating new techniques for creating things. Awesome. we're still living in Renaissance today. Things are always learning and changing. Awesome. Okay. Cities, wealth, Greek, Roman architecture, money from the church. Good. All right. Everybody who has responded. Awesome. Thank you. Shows you guys are, everyone's really dialed in here. I appreciate that. We're going to get moving here with a little activity to start off class. So, just a reminder, I had that note sheet, that is on Canvas from yesterday. So, it'd be wise of you probably to, be taking notes off of that. And I'm going to stay fairly close to that today. So, that should be helpful for you. Okay. All right. So, here's what we're going to start off with today. We're going to look at identifying major Renaissance themes here. So, Francesca, can you see, am I sharing the PowerPoint that I want to?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, cool. All right. So, in the following pictures, identify what makes it a Renaissance picture versus a medieval picture. Record them in your notes. So just a kind of a heads up. A few reminders here: perspective, like 3D, a vanishing point, realism, portraits, color, nature, aspects of algebra and geometry, like geometrical figures, are all what separated the Renaissance versus medieval art. Okay, and then from there, we'll talk about how this affected the rest of the world. All right, so let's take a look at picture number 1 here. And again, some of these I took off my phone, so they're not perfect, but this is in a gallery in Munich, Germany, actually. So if you want to, go ahead and raise your hand on the participants page or throw it in the chat function, your call. What do you see here as a Renaissance picture versus the medieval art? Or Renaissance art versus medieval art? What kind of secret knowledge do you think these artists had? Let me if I'm gonna give you about 30 seconds. All right, we already have someone in the chat function here. Awesome. All right, so we have the mountains in the background. Certainly, this is Mother Mary with child. So this is baby Jesus with his mother. And you've got these large mountains in the background. I'm not sure if you know too much about Jerusalem or Israel, but there are not mountains like that. Okay, that looks like it's set in the Alps or in the Rocky Mountains. So correct. Who else has an idea here? I see this is a pretty good one. I see probably 4 or 5 other things here. All right, so Renaissance, because it has a vanishing point 3D. Exactly. So you can see the depth in it, and then the realism. I mean, just if you see the shading between the clothes, you can see the folds in the clothes, the facial expressions. Exactly. Another one, we have a lot of color. Good. Color was an example of Renaissance and vibrant colors, the yellow, the reds, the blues. We're missing a couple here. Look in the background at the columns and the arches. All right. Those are what we call neoclassical, or the classical style. That's Greek and Roman. And then look how fat the baby Jesus looks. Okay. That's the ideal body shape that the Greeks painted and sculpted their bodies out of. Okay. Out of marble. Okay. That very, let's say plump. I mean, my babies are fat, kind of like that too. Maybe that's normal, but yeah, you can definitely see, this is a pretty normal looking, I guess, kid. I don't know. But yeah, realism there. Okay. And the ideal Greek body as well. All right. So you guys did a pretty good job on that one. Let's go number 2 here. Oh, that was Michelangelo, by the way. Madonna and child. So that means Mother Mary with child. All right. What's the obvious one here? This is Albrecht Dürer. He was the court painter for Martin Luther. And this is a really simple painting. If you speak German, you can see it says Bildnis eines junges Manns, which means a picture of a young man. I guess it says it's medieval. It's written around 1500, right in the heart of the Renaissance, so probably not medieval. These are all Renaissance pictures, by the way. Colors, 3D, and it's a portrait. Pretty good. Realism. Look at the expression on the face, though. Which is where, you're not necessarily drawing closer to God. You're probably starting to think, what is this? What in the world is this guy thinking? Okay. Decent. Let's go to the next one. What do you think here? Realism, color and buildings in the background, good. Vibrant colors, mountains. Look at the way that Jesus' body. This is Jesus being taken off the cross, and then these were the women that were mourning for him, Mary and Mary Magdalene. Shading, perspective, kind of reminds you of Pompeii. That's good. The people and the nature come out here. So you can see Jesus suffering, but look at how, to me, this one really comes out in the clothing too. Obviously the nature in the background, but very realistic and very Renaissance. I hate to say it, but they weren't wearing vibrant colors like that in Renaissance style. You see this guy on the left is wearing like fancy upper class clothing set in 15th century Italy, but it's supposed to be Jesus coming off the cross 1500 years before. That's a good question. Somebody asked, why are the people at the bottom so small? I firmly believe those are meant to be angels that are watching over Christ coming off the cross. All right. Here's number, what is this, 3 or 4? Usually if you're in class, I'll offer a piece of candy to anybody you can name the painting, just the topic. But what makes this a Renaissance painting versus a medieval painting? The topic is off with his head. Well, yes. Let's say a little more historical here. It's a young boy. It's a large man. This is a fairly popular story for some people. Shading and the facial expressions. Yeah. Young boy beheading his father. That's a good guess. Brooklyn Garst. You got it right. Good job, you. This is David. So with David and Goliath. So before David, this is a biblical story going back to the Old Testament of the Torah. The Israelites were fighting the Philistines, and David was this little boy, according to the Bible or the Torah, and he slung his slingshot and hit this 9-foot tall monster who was a Philistine and named Goliath, and then he fell over and then he beheaded him. But the realism here is pretty incredible. Ian pointed out that the hands are in almost every medieval painting are not anatomically correct. That is correct. And even Michelangelo screwed it up in his sculpture of the David. So definitely kind of shows you the detail here. Look at the blood coming off of Goliath. So, this is one of my favorite paintings. This is Caravaggio. He was a Venetian painter, actually, not a Florentine. All right. I would argue this is my favorite painting in the Louvre, which is a museum in Paris, where the Mona Lisa is. Some of your middle school teachers, I think, teach you this in Washington Township schools. So many different Renaissance styles here depicted. Anyone want to take a gander at the? Keep throwing your comments in the chat section. But anyone want to throw out there what the name of this painting is or the event? I might say pay attention to the people pouring things at the bottom. The behavior of some of these people, kind of hanging off of balconies and different stuff. Possibly the music. Guess is giving gifts to the king and queen. That's a good guess. You got to see Jesus in the middle here with a kind of shining halo on his head. Someone said the Last Supper, also a good guess. This is an Old Testament, so before Jesus was, before the Last Supper, but still Jesus is alive. I'm gonna throw it out there. See if I can find the everyone function. There we go. This is called. All right, Ian, did you look it up? The Wedding at Cana. Yeah, by Paulo Veronese. So this sits in the same room in the Louvre as the Mona Lisa, and it's about the size of, let's say, my classroom wall. And if you look at it, look at the vibrant outfits these men are wearing, and women, and the party that's going on. You can see the drunkenness that I'm certain the Old Testament didn't want people to see. You know, you got people flying off these columns. You've got a guy pouring more wine. If you remember right in the story, the wedding at Cana, Jesus turned water into wine so that the party could continue. It is huge, and it is abnormally large. One of the things that sticks out, nobody pointed this out yet, but there are all three orders of Greek columns in this painting. In fact, it looks like it was set in the Roman Forum in Rome, okay, where the Romans would have conducted government affairs. And if you've ever been to Rome or you get a chance, they're kind of trying to resurrect a lot of these columns. And so this has all three orders of Greek columns in it. And obviously you've got a nature scape in the background as well. So, all right, cool. Just wanted you guys get thinking a little bit. I didn't want, time always goes by so fast. So let's start going through a few of the most famous guys that changed, kind of like the inspirational for scientists and then philosophers down the road after that. So Michelangelo, he was first paid by the Medici family, Lorenzo, as I talked about yesterday, and he created the first sculpture of a freestanding nude done since Roman times. And this is called the David. This is a picture I took. It's in the Academia. And this was all carved out of one piece of marble, where you chisel and basically use a hammer and you chisel it out, and you can see the incredible detail. But just the, I mean, if you remember seeing the bust of Alexander the Great and then compare David, David was supposed to be this little boy who was weak, and now he's depicted as a fairly muscular young man. The Catholic Church and nudity was extremely controversial because remember, priests were supposed to be celibate, and this didn't lead to pure thoughts. Also, I might have a better picture of it. No, I don't. Sorry. Thought I had a better picture, but the hands are disproportionate. Everything here is correct anatomically, except for the hands are disproportionately longer and larger than the rest of the body. So I think Ian pointed that out. That is correct. This is in the Academia in Florence. Costs like 25 euros to get in there, and you can't take pictures. So I took this as a side picture. Another thing that he's very, very famous for is the Pietà, which is Mother Mary with Jesus. This is also one piece of marble. I mean, I don't know if you can gain how incredibly detailed this is. I mean, look at this is him coming off the cross, Jesus, and you can see like the sheet that he was cloaked in. This is the actual picture. This sits in the Vatican City in what's called St. Peter's Basilica, which I'll show you in a second. This is the largest Catholic church in the world, and it's located in Rome, in the place where the Pope lives. It's its own country today, called the Vatican City. So Michelangelo also then designed St. Peter's Basilica. He didn't get to build the whole thing, but look at the geometrical shapes in here. It's weirdly similar to Islamic art and looks very much less Christianized than previous places. He also designed the exterior. That's the outside of the Vatican City. So if you've ever seen this before, look at all the Greek and Roman columns. And then oddly enough, in the center of the Vatican City on the outside, there's a pyramid called an obelisk. Okay, and obviously pyramids date back to Egyptian times. All right, and so this is sitting in the capital. This is where the Pope lives, the most holy site for the church. Even 1 billion followers today are Catholic. This is the most holy site, and you've got, these themes that are very much dating back to classical times. Why does it almost look as if it uses a sundial? I think that, Ian, I think the question is it almost used as a sundial is this is just the knowledge of like geometry and pi and algebra kind of coming to fruition here. And you can see the geometrical shapes. That's my guess. I've been there multiple times. No one ever goes in that in depth on the tours. Okay, here's the inside. Remember I told you that the Colosseum didn't look as cool as it would have because they took all the gold off the Colosseum and they used it to build the altar of this fancy church. Okay, here's a picture I took of the ceiling. Just look at all of the gold. This is to show you the wealth of the Catholic Church. This is while poor people were dying and starving to death all over Europe to provide tithes to build this. Look at the geometrical shapes on the ceiling. Something I never actually really noticed. Sorry, sometimes you gotta take a break, get yourself some pizza when you're close to the Vatican City. It's pretty good stuff. He also designed the Uffizi. So this is back in Florence. This was, I told you, where the bank was for the Medici family. This was his design as well. This is what it looks like at night. He also then painted this picture, stinky on the left, sorry. On the right, this is his self-portrait. So a place in the Vatican City where the cardinals, that's right underneath the Pope, got together when a Pope died. They would get together to elect who would be the next Pope, okay? And they did that in what's called the Sistine Chapel, Sistine, not 16th. Okay, it sounds like 16th, but it's Sistine, Sistine. And when you walk in, on the front wall is this large painting that is unbelievable, and it's his depiction of the judgment between heaven and hell. Okay, and this is his self-portrait here on the right on this picture. Okay, and he wasn't sure if the angels were going to take him to heaven or hell. He was a very, very depressed man at the end of his death. And so this is his self-portrait inside the actual painting. And then if you look here, this is the back wall that I was talking about in the further kind of the background of this picture. Nathaniel said it does look like the buildings we learned about in Rome. Exactly. Yeah, it does. So this is, again, this is the holiest site, again, because this is where they pick who the next pope is. And this background wall was made by Michelangelo. And then if you look on the top here, I took this picture. You cannot take pictures in here. Okay. I had to take this out of the side pocket of my camera. The rest of these I found on the internet. I'm not going to lie to you. But there are 9 biblical scenes that are made on the ceiling. Okay. So 9 biblical scenes Michelangelo painted using a brace, basically painting upside down and arching his back. And he went blind because of the lead from the paint that got in his eyes. But in the center of the 9 biblical paintings is what we call the creation of Adam. All right. And if you're following me, look at the Renaissance themes here. I mean, this is, again, going back to the ideal Greek and Roman body. You have Adam sitting in this like a nature rock, maybe standing on the side of a mountain for some reason. You've got God here depicted as, a kind of a strong, old-looking man. The angels holding him. And then a lot of people think this is an anatomical brain. All right. So it kind of showing off the knowledge of the human body. And then you've got God touching life into Adam. You've got a nude Adam, which later was painted over after the Reformation, which we'll talk about next week. But this is in the most important place of the Catholic Church. I want you guys to understand that. Okay, they're paying for this art, which will eventually lead to their downfall because people will start to think for themselves and say, "Oh, these guys were right." Okay. All right. Here's his tomb. This is in the Santa Croce Church, which is in Florence as well. It's not one of the more visited places, but he literally, out of one piece of marble, this is unbelievable. Look at how he designed 3 angels to guard him, all out of one piece of marble. And he built this before he died, or he sculpted it, carved it out, because he was very worried about his death. And then this is, so he was buried alongside the angels that he created, all out of, again, one piece of marble. Hopefully some of you get to go see this stuff. All right, let's continue on your notes here. The largest ceramic dome ever built in the world is called the Basilica di Santa Maria de Fiore, also known as the Duomo. So the Medici family had a contest, and they wanted to create the first dome built since Roman times. And so the winner was a guy by the name of Filippo Brunelleschi. And he tried to create this dome. He had massive plans, and the dome collapsed on itself twice. And so he decided that he would build an inner wall and an outer wall, okay, to support the dome. And he got it to work. And this is what it looks like today. Okay, so this is the city of Florence, standard European city where every building was the same height. And then you have this massive church called the Duomo, or the Dome. And this was, again, this kind of the symbol of Florence's power and might. On top of that, then, the Campanile was designed by Giotto, which is all inlaid with green and white marble. And the baptistry, which I'll show you here in a second. This is what it looks like at night. Notice, again, the geometric shapes on here, which kind of are not particularly Christian, but more of this Renaissance theme. Notice the arches and the columns. It almost looks Arabic in a sense as well. And then you go up to the doors. I wanted you to see the detail on this. I mean, all of this is marble, called Carrara marble. Carrara was the mine in northern Italy where they had this imported from. Here's the inside of his dome. So also, it was also painted. The outside, you can walk up to the top. I might have a picture. I don't remember. But the inside here is a depiction of heaven and hell as well. And it's got the 6 layers, like the 6 steps to heaven. And then this is a picture of Dante, because Dante was from Florence. We'll talk about him later. He was one of the first artists to ever write in a language that people could speak about. But his book called Dante's Inferno, which again talks about a book called Revelations in the Bible and kind of some of the odder stuff in Christianity, like where you'll go when you die or if you're going to go to heaven or not. This is a picture of him that's in the church. Oh, there's some rabbit and a little bit of meat you get in Italy too. All right. So the baptistry, Lorenzo Ghiberti. There was a contest to see who could etch 12 biblical scenes. Etching is like this thing where you make an impression, and they used pure gold. That's how much money they had. Pure gold to etch into these doors of the baptistry. And this is where baptisms would occur in the town. And this is what the doors look like today. Ghiberti won the contest. So 12 biblical scenes. And these are fake. You can go like up to it. You notice they have a gate around it on the bottom, but the real ones look like this. Look how beautiful this is. Absolutely incredible. And then the lady in the bottom got in my way when I was taking the picture. These were on the doors of the baptistry again, which was separate from the Duomo. All right, let's keep going here. So the earliest artist that Lorenzo de' Medici patron is where you patron. It was someone who paid for an artist, was Sandro Botticelli. All right, and he was an early painter of the Renaissance, and he was the first person to paint non-religious paintings. Okay, does anyone know the name of this painting without going on to Google? Some of you who like Greek and Roman things might remember it. Okay, it's called The Birth of Venus. All right, and so using the Greek and Roman knowledge, Botticelli created this highly erotic painting here, which was very, very much, again, not Christian at all, and no Christian idea out of it. And so this is where kind of Botticelli gets his fame. The second one probably by Botticelli that is most famous is La Primavera. And again, he came before Michelangelo and Da Vinci. He was paid by the Medicis. And here you can see La Primavera means spring. And so you see the Vestal Virgins here. Who's in the right-hand corner kidnapping someone? Anyone know the mythology?
Is it Medusa?
Hades. Notice also, look at the detail again of these dresses. Look at the fruit. If you ever get a chance, so this is actually located in that big old palace looking building called the Uffizi. It's an art museum today, and this is where these paintings are. This one is talked about in your textbook, oddly enough. One of the rare things they actually do that's cool. This is the wise men. These were men from Persia who came to see Jesus according to the Torah. And take a look at this, okay? This is supposed to be the manger scene, but it's set in this Greek and Roman setting where you see columns on the left, like ancient Roman ruins that their baby Jesus is born in. On the left, you see Cosimo and Lorenzo. Like these are actually their faces. And then on the right, in the little like yellow outfit, that's Sandro Botticelli himself. And historians argue this was in their own chapel in their house, the Medici's, in what's called the Pitti Palace. And historians argue that this was basically them trying to say that they were so powerful that they put themselves in the history books by placing themselves at the birth of Jesus and the adoration of the Magi. So I don't know. I always find this fascinating. And he's probably my favorite painter, just his facial structures in the detail. You can always see the colors too. It's super Renaissance. All right. We're gonna save Da Vinci for tomorrow just because we got to get through quite a bit, and then we can talk about some writers and we'll get through it all. All right. So that leaves us with 7 minutes. I wanted to just remind you real quick. I can't handle missing assignments. We just can't do anymore. All right. We need to get the missing assignment thing figured out. So let me get my Canvas. Oh, I just deleted it. That was dumb. On Canvas, under modules, there's a place for you to upload your intro. Some people have had trouble uploading or downloading it for some reason, but it goes straight to your Google Drive, or it should. You shouldn't have to upload your computer or restart your computer or anything like that. It should go right there. All right. There we go. Okay, so the intro due today. Okay, you've got about 6 minutes. You've got 46 submissions, which isn't bad, but I need 85 by the end of the day. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to kind of tuck that together if you haven't submitted it. If you have, go to the bathroom, go to get your breakfast. Feel free to get off this. Tomorrow, we're going to finish up with Da Vinci and Raphael, and then we're going to look at the writers of the Renaissance, all right? Should be kind of a cool class period. We'll talk about Niccolo Machiavelli, one of the more polarizing figures in history, okay? All right, great participation today for those of you who are here. I've got attendance taken. Feel free to get off of this unless you have a question for me. And those of you who just posed a question on the chat, I'll get back to you. Everybody have a great day, okay?
Bye. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thanks, everyone. David, stay on here. Let me check for you. All right, David, I did get it. You're good.
All right.
Thanks, man. Have a good day.
You too.